If you get in trouble in San Francisco and don't have thousands of dollars to hire a private lawyer, you're going to meet the San Francisco Public Defenders.
Public defender will be appointed to represent the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll accept appointment.
Public defender is appointed to represent you.
90% of the people who are arrested can't afford a lawyer. The 80 attorneys in the San Francisco Office of the Public Defender handle 19,000 cases a year.
I will appoint the public defender to represent you.
Here are their stories.
We all want the right thing to happen at the very end. We want the innocent to go free. If somebody has done something wrong, there should be a price to be paid. But that is only going to happen if it's an honest fight.
See, you don't need anything? So.
For 3 years, Jeff Adachi has worked on a complicated murder case. It's about to go to trial. His client is in jail several floors above the courthouse.
Definitely this case represents where I am in my life, the most difficult case and the most important case in my career. The stakes in this case for Lamb are probably as extreme as you can get. I mean, if Lamb is convicted, he will probably serve the rest of his meaningful years in prison.
A 17-year-old now in jail at the Hall of Justice is thought by police to be the trigger man who shot Tran in front of a crowded bar last Friday. Tran is the reputed head of the notorious TL gang, alleged to control prostitution and gambling in the Tenderloin.
He was chased down the street, and then after he was incapacitated, he was purposely shot.
When Tran fell here, the gunman came over to him, shot him twice in the head, and all of this was witnessed by dozens of people in the area.
We interviewed Lamb Troy in this very room right here. And we almost thought that we had him to confess.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, I met Jeff through when I was down at juvenile hall when I first got arrested. Other people don't look right to me, and I don't trust them because they all look like they're undercover or a homicide, you know, some kind of people, you know, so.
Eventually, we located a person by the name of Jason Waxler, and Jason Waxler became a cooperative witness.
And then I seen Lamb walk up to his head and go bang, bang, 2 shots on his head, and then Lamb was getting, you know, talking all crazy about that's how you do it and this and that, and just get him in the head, make sure that they're dead, this and that.
I guess anybody looking at this case might say that it was extremely difficult or maybe even hopeless, but I've never ever felt that way about any case, and particularly this case, I feel is a strong case for us.
I think he's a very dangerous man, a very ruthless individual. I got the impression that he was a killer, and it was a kind of very cold-blooded killing.
I think in every person, I've met all kinds of people. I've met accused serial killers. I've met, you know, people who society would deem probably dangerous. And there's something about them that's good. And I think that's what we do as public defenders, is that we take this person and we show them to the jury and we try to bring out the best in that person. My parents and my grandparents were in the internment camps during World War II. And to find out that my parents and my grandparents and my great-grandparents were thrown into jail for, you know, something they didn't do or something they weren't responsible for, I think really instilled in me a sense of injustice and a sense of frustration at the judicial system. And I think that was one of the things that shaped my decision to become a public defender.
I think a miracle gonna happen. You know? I can't.
Oh shit, that makes me feel.
If you don't do what we do day in and day out in representing people accused of crime and doing it vigorously and well, when the innocent person comes along, the system won't be able to safeguard the interests of that person.
So the district attorney will master his set of facts, I will master my set of facts, and we'll go to war. That's the bottom line.
Most of the people arrested in San Francisco are charged with misdemeanors, less serious crimes punishable by up to a year in jail. New public defenders cut their teeth on these misdemeanor cases.
This is Phoenix Streets from the Public Defender's Office. How you two doing this morning? You okay? It's a good day? Okay, well, relax. Nothing's gonna happen just yet. What about Laura's daughter? Is there any possible way that you would be amenable to amending the charge so we can just send her to pretrial diversion? Okay. I'm not afraid to go to trial, and people have to be clear on that.
Laura's daughter, 9 a.m. defendant ordered present for trial.
My upbringing has everything to do with why I'm a public defender. In Arkansas, in this town I grew up in, it's called Beebe, Arkansas. Way back in the old days, black men weren't allowed to go into town after nightfall. Okay, there was even the sign says, you know, if you're black, don't let the sun go down on you in Beebe. And so for some reason, my uncle got caught in town after sundown. They beat him to death, put him on the railroad tracks, and let the train run over him. And even myself, people would say things to me like, "You're pretty smart for a nigger," or "You're not like those other niggers." Like that's supposed to be some sort of compliment.
For the last 3 years, I've been beaten up pretty badly. That's why I don't have a tooth here. Now this gun issue, I had him arrested on August 7th. The police officers, when they took the statement from me, they said, if you find the weapon in the house, bring it to the Hall of Justice.
She has a college education.
I went to medical school for 2 years.
And through the years, my sister has become an alcoholic. That doesn't mean that she's a criminal, no. She has never played with guns. She's telling the truth about the gun. She's never held.
Who's speaking, please? Mr. Streets. Nice to hear from you.
I need to convey, the DA made an offer, another offer.
Oh, yeah, we got an offer? Okay, what's the offer?
And the offer is that she goes into counseling for 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, they dismiss the charge.
That's the problem, Mr. Streets. I don't want to say I'm guilty of doing something, and I was following orders to do something that I was told to do.
If we go to trial and we win, hey. And if we go to trial and we lose, she's going to go to jail. Maybe. I'm concerned that the district attorney obtained confidential information about Ms. Laura's daughter while they were prosecuting her abuser. So I'm filing this motion Hey, how you doing? To have them removed from the case so they cannot use that information against her.
Your motion to recuse was frivolous and imposed for purpose of delay.
Your Honor, my legal authorities that I cited were legal authorities, and they stated the grounds upon which a
Mr.
motion
Streets,
to recuse could be based.
Mr. Streets,
and
I
filed a
won't
motion.
hear it.
So it's
Mr.
not a frivolous
Streets,
motion, Your Honor.
We will
I had
Mr.
authority,
Streets,
and I
don't,
filed it in
Mr.
accordance with my
Streets,
authorities.
keep it up and you'll be in contempt.
Or he can fine me, or he can send me to sit in the jail, which is what I'm going to do, because, hey, I can't afford a fine. I like my clients. I can't afford to pay. This is how it goes. I tell my clients what to do, and that I tell them, you tell me what to do. I work for you. Did anything happen on August 7th of this year? But I feel it's very important that they understand exactly what's going on each step of the way. And then the DA will ask you some questions. If he asks you a question and you don't understand, say you don't understand. So basically, I'm just saying, be honest. Okay. And if you don't know the answer?
I don't know.
Okay. And if you don't remember something?
I don't remember.
Very good. Keep your answers short. Keep them short. Only answer what's asked. Okay?
Yeah.
And we'll be fine.
You determine what the facts are. I give you the law. You put them together. You reach a verdict.
Just stay calm. Stay calm. There's no reason to panic.
What drew my attention to her is that there was another woman walking in front of me. And the woman turned around and said to me that people will do anything, I guess, out here in front of the hall. And I looked at the lady seated over there, and she had a gun in her hand. And she was clicking the cylinders of the gun as though she was showing it to the woman who was seated across from her.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Is it true, Mr. Andrews, that when you reported this incident to the police officers, that you told them you saw Ms. Laura's daughter spinning the cylinders?
No, I'm quite sure. I told them she was clicking through.
Okay.
The cylinders do spin when you click through.
Thank you. No further questions. All right. Who is a good witness for us?
He picked up the phone, I answered it, and he said, I was walking past and she's spinning the cylinder and she's still out there.
Did she state that she was there to turn the gun in or give the gun to the police, something of that nature?
She stated that she was there to see Inspector McDonough and decided to bring the gun with her at the same time to turn it in.
Does the defense have any witnesses?
The defense calls Miss Laura's daughter?
I approached the entrance and I realized I don't have a clue whom to approach or whom to talk to say I have a gun.
So what did you do?
So I sat down on the bench, the concrete bench in the front, and I had a cigarette, and I looked at the gun, and I was just, so okay, let's make sure there are no bullets in the gun at least.
Why did you think there might be bullets in the gun?
Because my roommate had used it on me once, and he said there's a bullet in it, and when I pull the trigger, that might be the one bullet that's going to empty out your brain.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sorry. You found the gun a month before August 7th?
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be July 7th, around that time you found the gun? Yes or no?
I don't remember. I don't remember the exact date.
Miss Laura's daughter,
Uh-huh.
you did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
You did a great job. Beautiful. Fantastic.
Today you've heard 4 witnesses say they saw Miss Laura's daughter, the defendant, not coming into the police station to turn in a weapon. You actually heard Miss Laura's daughter herself saying that a month ago this weapon was actually found And no police officers were called.
She was told by her domestic partner that he had gotten rid of the gun. So as far as she knew, the gun was gone. She believed him, yes. And when was the next time she saw the gun? When he was holding it to her head, saying, I got rid of all the bullets except one. And I'm going to use this last bullet to blow your brains out. And then he told her after that he'd gotten rid of the gun again. And she believed him. It happens every day. People are abused. The victims of domestic violence believe their husband or believe the person who's abusing them when they say they're not going to do it again, because they want them to change, and they want to believe that they're going to change, and they don't want to believe that this is happening to them. So is it so hard to accept that?
Each of you must consider the evidence for the purpose of reaching a verdict, if you can do so.
I can hope the jurors do the right thing. Because, I mean, I look at the case and it seems so, like it's easy. It should be an easy decision. But then you never really know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I received a message that you had reached a verdict. Is that correct?
Correct. Superior Court of California, County of San Francisco, people of the state of California, plaintiff versus Erna Lauerschlader, defendant, court number 1332. We, the jury, in the above entitled cause, find the defendant not guilty of the offense charged.
Ladies and gentlemen, I say to each of you, is this your verdict?
Yes.
You're discharged. You are done. You are finished.
All right, take care of yourself. Okay, you can take care of your sister.
I've gone through hell, but it was worth it. I don't have anything on my record, and I cleared my name. Mr. Street, he got involved.
That trial was a little more emotional than I was expecting to be. Well, way more emotional than I expected it to be.
Mr. Adachi, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I just heard. All right. Right on, man.
Is it?
Yeah.
It was one they should never tried, They
Yeah.
should have never done that to that poor woman, She was a victim of domestic violence and all that. And she was just coming to turn the gun in. She's outside of 850
You almost did more time than she did, huh?
Yeah. Jeff Adachi is awesome. The man, hey, if this was some sort of tribe, I'm sure he'd be a high priest. As chief attorney, Jeff Adachi manages 80 public defenders and oversees the day-to-day activities of the office.
Welcome to the very first stress reduction and substance abuse seminar ever given in the history of the office, to my knowledge.
I don't like fighting all the time. I like to just relax, smile, joke, listen to music, but there are things worth fighting for. And the public defenders, to be a good public defender, you have to truly believe that there are things worth fighting for.
Bail will be set in the amount of $35,000.
$35,000 is excessive, Your Honor.
I don't believe it is. And I will be assured, if he makes $35,000 bail, that he will be available.
He should be giving reasonable bail.
I agree.
And
I
that's
believe
not
it is.
reasonable. $35,000, and the charges are carrying a concealed weapon, carrying a loaded weapon.
Those are gravely serious offenses.
No, Your Honor, those are misdemeanors. If they were gravely serious crimes, they'd be felonies.
Anything else?
The judge can be vindictive. The judge can be outrageous. The judge can be unreasonable. The judge can just be out of their minds. But it's okay because they're the judge.
He like walked me over to the door outside the courtroom and we were talking. He's like, I can hold you in contempt. And then walked down here and that was it.
Calm down. We're going to take care of it. Calm down.
Why am I even getting arrested?
Before you can be held in contempt, you have to have a hearing. And so what Judge Mellon has done is thrown this man in jail without allowing him to have his constitutionally guaranteed right to a hearing.
We know that we'll get you taken care of.
Remember a dull moment in Department 14, right?
They don't want to hear my side. Please.
He says he disrupted his court. He wants him in.
What we just saw was a judge holding a client in contempt without counsel, which is completely illegal and completely unwarranted. And so we have no choice but to take the next step, and that would be to go to the higher court.
We're going to go see Judge Moscone and see if he will entertain an emergency petition for writ of habeas corpus.
We have an emergency. We have an emergency. No problem. You do?
Yeah. We got a problem, a melon problem. No counsel, no due process, nada. Let my people go.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, man, that's cool. So what would I have to go to? Thank you very much. What would I have to go to basically get a suit on this guy?
When this is all over, we'll sit down and we'll talk about the next step, okay?
That's cool. Because Phoenix Streets is his name?
Yeah.
He's going to write a report, too, of everything that happened.
I'm not trying to do anything to any judge. I'm just here to help out my clients, hey, make life a little better for everybody. But my concern, actually, with this whole thing is that perhaps there'll be some backlash from the judges thinking that I'm cocky or something, that I set out to destroy this guy because I could. But I don't think I can't destroy him. Who am I? I'm nobody. I'm a little rinky-dink rookie attorney. It wasn't me who got him. And this afternoon, I'm meeting with the new judge. He's going to let me know the rules of his court and the way he expects things to be conducted. You see, I like that. I got no problems with that. Hey, what are the rules? Tell me the rules. Hey, I'm cool with them. I'm cool with them. Here it is, much brighter and happier.
If we can win, we must win. And that's a good thing. That's the adversarial situation. That's the adversarial process. If we can, we must.
Am I gonna go home? You know, or am I gonna die in this, behind this wall one day?
Well, you know, they made an offer to settle the case yesterday. The district attorney offered 21 years in state prison on a voluntary manslaughter.
Yeah. It's too long.
If you go to trial and lose on a first degree, right, that could be as much as 35 years. On 35 years...
It's the same thing, 21 years, 35 years.
It's not, though. Even if you're my age, you can still come out, you have a family, you can get a job, you can take care of your family.
20 years to live, 10 years to live after that.
Well, I hope I live longer than that, but...
That's why, you know, I told you, Jeff. 18 years, what the use is coming out? Everything I learned is going to be in jail, behind those walls.
Okay, so we'll turn it down then, all right? You okay? I mean, if Lamb goes to trial and there's a good result, I'll think that we made the best decision in the world. If we go to trial and we lose, that's going to be hard to live with. For me, it'll be hard for me to live with for a long time.
Well, there are a lot of sources of crime. Social and economic inequities set up a major element of desperation and just impossible living situations. And I think they set up their own madness.
These are Mr. Robinson's clothes because Mr. Robinson is in custody because he failed to appear for his last jury trial date.
Watch this drug deal right across the street from the Channel 4 studios. The seller takes the crack out of his mouth and hands it to the buyer. This is a squatter's camp of crack addicts, their squalid existence hidden in this alley.
The guys who are doing the dope, you know, they're buying it and they're going into the nearest alley to shoot their dope. They're pissing in doorways, crapping in doorways.
I do know the streets of San Francisco, where the dope dealers are, needs to be cleaned up, and I will insist on that.
In response to media and public pressure, the police initiated DART, the Drug Awareness Response Team. Michelle's client, Mr. Robinson, was one of its targets.
The best part about going to trial is that for that time, you are focused entirely on one client. Because when you have 100 clients, it's nice to be able to just develop more of a relationship with a client. Okay, this is the shirt he wore yesterday. The jury is looking for that your client is respectful of the proceedings. So you want to not be wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I've done 5 trials. I did them all pretty much within the first 3 to 4 months that I was here. This is trial number 6. It's just unknown, you know. Hopefully once I get in there and things get going, I won't be that nervous. I know the fight's half the battle, but it sure would be nice to win. You know, I haven't won a single trial yet. Whoa, we got a lot of trials going on today. I just picked a jury yesterday, so yeah, so start today.
Good luck.
Thanks, thank you.
When I first started here, at one point I lost 7 cases in a row. And at that point I remember calling up my mom and saying, you know what, I don't think I was meant to do this thing. And she said, you know what, you just got to keep trying. And I reached a certain point on those kinds of misdemeanor cases where I felt I couldn't lose.
To be able to stand up there and fight for this person that you don't know, and to have that responsibility is truly, I consider it an honor.
The purpose of the opening statement is to explain to you what evidence will be presented in this case. Go ahead, Mr. Nightingale.
They say they're out there to clean up the missing district. They're out there at 7:45 in the morning, just a regular day. Who do they see? See that gentleman over there. He's kind of in a daze, he looks tired. Out of all the people in the mission district in the morning, he's singled out. Why? Because he looks like he's under the influence.
The DA is the enemy.
He can't take care of himself.
They're keeping me from getting what I want for my client.
Yes, the mission district has been polluted, poisoned with drug users and abusers.
They're drinking, taking drugs, selling drugs, harassing the tourists, the shoppers, the shopkeepers. A lot of people are afraid to come to this area.
I ask you, on behalf of Mr. Robinson, to listen to the evidence. At the close of that evidence, you will know that Mr. Robinson is not guilty of any crime. It's interesting to me how I did end up in this place. My parents are conservative Republicans, and many of their friends, if not all, think it's absolutely insane. I mean, how can she be defending these guilty people? His opening pissed me off. I mean, he's like saying, you know, and they go out there because this is a bad neighborhood, and people are bad there, and we're going to pull these people off the street, you know, and we're going to pick up people who look like they're under the influence. You know why they picked him up? Because he's black, for God's sakes. I mean, yes, He looked to you like he was under the influence.
In the closing, he's going to unleash. He's going to unleash.
He is.
Nightingale's going to unleash.
What's he?
He's going to talk about your boy like he's a dog.
Really?
And throw you in the mix, too.
He said, we are trying to get these people off the street. The guy said that out of all the investigations he does, he always arrests them. Always!
The thing about it is, like, you got to be careful with the theys, them, and make it us. You know, this is the community. This is our community. They're talking about this neighborhood like it's something like it's distinct. This is San Francisco.
Right.
This is where we live. This is our city. And you got these people, the government going out, swooping people up off the streets. Hey, you better be careful. Don't get up too early. Don't be drowsy in the morning walking down the street.
That's good.
Or officer, whatever his name is going to pick you up and you're going to be right here.
That's good.
You're going to be sitting right over here.
May I see you come to order, Department 13 is to be in session.
All right.
Members of the jury, this is the opportunity of counsel for both sides to argue to you what they believe the evidence shows and how that evidence relates to the particular matters charged. Mr. Nightingale?
The law does not require that he was in such a mental state that he was running around crazy, waving a gun at people. The law does not require anything other than the fact that I have to show that he was under the influence of a controlled substance. Anything. It could be a muscle twitch because of the cocaine. It could be that he's shaking. It could be that he can't think straight and is mumbling to himself. Anything. Take a look at this. This is what the defendant looked like. Look how red his eyes are. His eyes are redder than her shirt or any of these seats. Why? Because he's been up for 2 days. Because he's under the influence of cocaine and can't sleep. When you apply facts with this standard and the law, you'll come back with a verdict of guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nightingale. Mr. Farrar?
To think that in San Francisco, someone can be standing on the street at 7:45 in the morning looking tired and have 2 cops stop him is unbelievable. Where were you this morning at 7:45? Because I hope you weren't in the mission. I hope you weren't looking tired. The district attorney wants you to think that Mr. Robinson's a bad guy. And look at him, he looks like a criminal. He's playing to your sympathy. He's playing to your thoughts and your feelings about crime in specific neighborhoods of this city. Not on the back of my client, he doesn't.
Both the people and the defendant have a right to expect that you will consciously consider and weigh the evidence, apply the law, and reach a verdict regardless of the consequences. If you find Mr. Robinson guilty, you can so indicate on this one form. If you find Mr. Robinson not guilty, you insert not guilty in the same place. It will be self-evident. Okay?
Is it a long deliberation good or a short?
Well, there's no way to tell.
She's good. She's good.
This is my first in custody. If he goes down, he stays here for a long, well, for another month at least. I get to go home and think about all the things I should have done. So let's hope for the best, though. Oh, God. I hate this part.
It is a case that deals with a basic social issue in this society, in this country, and on a person-by-person basis. I think that's how jurors decide cases, not based on social policy.
I am counting on those jurors. I am counting on them.
We are on the record and the jury is present, counsel present, Mr. Robinson is present. Have you reached a verdict?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
All right.
In the Superior Court of California, County of San Francisco, Court number 193-6467, the people of the state of California versus Brian Robinson, we the jury, in the above entitled cause, find the defendant not guilty of the offense charged and misdemeanor to wit, violation of section 11550 of the Health and Safety Code.
Very well, thank you. Would either side like to have the jury poll?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
At this point, Mr. Robinson, this case, as it relates to you, is dismissed.
I'll be staring at the photos.
Okay.
I told you.
Oh, my father will be so happy. I finally won. Oh, I thought it would never happen. Not guilty, baby.
Congratulations, congratulations.
Thank you. So,
Hey, how you doing? Congratulations.
Thank you,
How
thank
does it
you.
feel?
Fabulous.
Wow.
It's a lot more fun to win.
Yeah. I mean, he was facing a mandatory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jim
so.
Mahoney. We'll go celebrate.
Oh, I will.
Never forget this moment.
Yeah,
you know? Okay,
yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
It's impossible to do this work without feeling the contrast between how we live our personal lives and the lives that our clients live, many of them, not all, but many.
So we're off to our Ally McBeal hangout. How do you separate being this nice young woman on the outside and then have to go to court every day and fight and be really aggressive? And society doesn't really approve of that type of conduct.
It is very ugly, very hard, very dangerous. It is horrible to be in the county jail for any period of time. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 6 months. But in felonies, what we're talking about can be anywhere from a year in the county jail to the rest of your life.
Yes? They have a verdict. Okay, we're on our way. Bye. Okay, they have a verdict. Oh. They have a verdict. Good luck. Thanks. Hi, Paul. They have a verdict. They have a verdict, yeah.
This is the most difficult trial of my entire life, this Marcos Rangel jury trial. This is 3 years of labor for me, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. I've turned every stone that I could think of. I've raised every doubt I could think of. I've explored every possibility. I've taken some wrong turns and some right turns. The jury will make its decision based on the evidence and the law to the best of their ability. And I think that they always have, and they always will.
Superior Court of California, County of San Francisco, Criminal Division.
Will Maas is defending Marcos Rangel. Police say Marcos walked into a trendy San Francisco hair salon and shot the owner dead.
district attorney is totally against you. The police are totally against you. Our judge is extremely biased and prejudiced and totally against you. This jury is the one group of people who can save you. You cannot be found guilty unless all 12 people agree unanimously that you're guilty. Newly arrived Hispanic people, first generation Hispanics, would be the most sympathetic for you. Asian Americans tend to be very conservative and to feel if you're arrested, you're a bad person. Generally, lesbians are really bad in criminal cases. In the past, Jewish people were always very pro-defense. Now a lot of them are rich and judgmental.
I just trust to yes, the people who's coming to be the jury people, but I don't trust the system.
If you can't believe in the system, then hold your head up high and say, I have another jury that's a lot more powerful than you, another jurist, if you will.
Well, the first day we were called in for jury selection, the only thing that I believed I was going to be involved in it was going to be some type of criminal trial.
So I was sitting there and I was thinking, 2 months?
And I said, boy, if I do get selected, I sure picked a doozy of a trial to be involved in.
I believe that this is a representative jury of open-minded and fair people. That is what the law requires, and nothing more.
In my view, people that I prosecute are guilty. If he gets convicted, he will never get back out of jail.
Yo nací en una vecindad, está en San Pedro Mártir, es un pueblito en México del Distrito Federal. Ahí nací donde era un cuarto de 4x4 y vivíamos seis hermanos. Algunas veces mis hermanos, los más pequeños, pedían de comer y no podía yo darles de comer, nomás les daba tortillas con azúcar, que ellos no sintieran tanta hambre. Entonces yo veía a mi familia tan pobre, pensé, dije, bueno, pues yo creo que si puedo ir con esta persona, voy a ir a trabajar allá. Pues realmente tomé la decisión de venirme a Estados Unidos. Tenía yo 18 años y me vine con él, y para cruzar la frontera tuvimos que correr.
Good morning. It's 1:35 in the morning. A little bit sleepy. I slept from about 8 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. and couldn't sleep anymore, so I'm here in the office at 1:30 in the morning. And I knew it was wrong to get up, and I knew I shouldn't, but I also knew I wouldn't be able to sleep. And after having what I thought was a pretty good day in court, I was filled with self-centered fear. And you know, all those things are really old thoughts that really go back to when I was a kid, and they're the reason I started drinking at age 16 and drank repeatedly from ages 16 to 41. I have 12 and a half years of sobriety now, and once in a while those old thoughts come back, those old haunting thoughts. I nearly died of alcoholism in January of 1987. I was told if I continued to drink, I would die over that weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, 1987.
Emergency.
I was cutting and listening, and then I heard a gunshot. And I spun around.
Carmel Sanger, a woman in her 30s who ran a very chic hair salon, was murdered in the middle of her workday. Carmel Sanger was a really vibrant, outgoing, and bigger-than-life character. She was beautiful. She was a recovered addict.
Yesterday was spent coming to grips with my humanity and my ability to be a human being. I cannot stand the thought of anybody being executed, including Carmel Sanger. She was executed. but she was a good and decent person who, like me, got sober and was sober a considerable period of time like me and tried to reach out and help others. Carmel Singer, please forgive me for denying your humanity or time. I know what a beautiful woman you are, and wherever your spirit resides, please forgive me. Please forgive me.
Oh my God! Give me a description of the person who shot you. He had a bandana on and a leather coat. Down. What race is he or she? He looked Hispanic.
Do you see that person in court here today?
Yes, I do. He's sitting over there, and he has a white shirt and a dark green jacket on and headphones on. I feel very strongly certain.
All right.
I mean, at first it sounded like she definitely saw him that she could identify. And then as you started hearing the other witnesses and what was going on, that I know that she probably couldn't totally, had to have a little doubt there.
As Mr. Moss got done questioning her, I don't think she was so certain at that point.
I don't remember exactly.
Certainly, there was some doubt there.
I'm not Perry Mason. This isn't a Perry Mason world. Really, all I've got is like a single-shot weapon, like an old squirrel rifle. Bing, bing. Thanksgiving Day, 1966. I was 19 years old. My position was usually on the lead helicopter. I tried to be the lead helicopter and the first guy. All of us have got our rods and rake. We're spraying this landing zone and all the area and the trees around it. After the first round of fire, and I remember the bullets coming over me, there was a quiet, chilling silence. And all of us, at the same time it seems like, all of us in this company stood up. And then a bang! And then the guns started again, the machine guns. And I began to realize everybody on our side was shooting, and there was one person somewhere in this little village, 50 to 75 yards in front of me, who was shooting us. Finally, the captain lost all patience, I think, and he called in F-104 fighter planes. And they come at supersonic speed. They have 20-millimeter cannons. You can see the earth being chewed up. You can see huge chunks of dirt flying from these 20-millimeter cannons. We get up again to move, and bang! Right in the head. The other guy's dead. He killed 12 men in the course of the day. I saw their bodies out on the landing zone wrapped in ponchos. What they would do is they'd bring in the food in one load and take the bodies out. Watch them be taken out, and I ate my turkey and my cranberries, and I thought, boy, that one guy was really powerful. So the lesson that that little sniper taught me on Thanksgiving Day 1966, just hang in there. You never know. You might win a battle here and there, and you might win the war.
When you make an opening statement, it's like surgery. I mean, you're very careful, and you watch every word you say. So, how do I communicate who Lam Choi was? Lam Choi's only mistake, well, Lam Choi,
I lost my parents when I hopped down the boat, and ever since then I never heard from them again.
Now, Lam Choi was born in Cambodia, and Lam's family was from Cambodia. And they fled Cambodia to Vietnam. Lam Choi was in one boat with his uncle and aunt, and his parents were in another boat, and they were separated.
It was terrifying and really, really horrible, you know.
What am I trying to do? How are they going to try and stop me? What are they trying to do? How can I try to stop them? The side that does many calculations before the battle, the side that knows its enemy, the side that knows itself, that is the side that has the best chance to win.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The key player in this case for the prosecution is a man by the name of Jason Waxler.
And I seen Lamb reach into the back of his pants like this and pull out a big, long, silver gun.
You have to remember that not only did Waxler walk away with this without a scratch, he walked away from this with a new life. And it doesn't bring me great pleasure to tell you about who he is. Jason Waxler is a thief, a robber, an extortionist, and he was homeless at the time. He was desperate for attention, and he was desperate for money. And I have here a $1,000 bill. And I wish I could say that the $1,000 bill represents all that Waxler received. But the evidence is going to show that the prosecution paid Mr. Waxler not one of these, not two of these, not 10 of these, but he received 80 of these. And when this trial is over, you're going to know what he's really about. You're going to understand what we've understood for years, that the man is a liar.
Whoa! Good morning. For first week, it's gone far, far better than I'd hoped. And who knows, you know, the jury could see these things completely different. They could see me as a big bully who picks on everybody and is Mr. Picky Unions trying to shift the suspicion away from Marcos Rangel. I hate that phrase, cautiously optimistic, but that's about the best I could muster up to date.
And the car was it was like a big black old Lincoln or something like that. I think the license plate was either AUJ or 1AUJ.
License plate numbers and eyewitness descriptions led the police to interview Marcos Rangel.
And that interview room has a secret hidden video camera so that police can surreptitiously videotape people in their statements, correct?
Yes. Okay, now Marcos.
Yes, sir.
Listen, we know what happened. We know what happened. We didn't knock on your door by accident.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You gave very specific information to Marcos Rangel, which only the shooter would normally know.
You guys drove down, you parked in the middle of the street, you went in, and you asked for a hair appointment. Then you weren't sure who she was. Then you asked for her by name.
Right.
Well, then, when she came to the counter, you shot her. You went outside, you fired another shot through the window, and you got in the car.
Now that was something that you should have reserved for a confessing suspect to confirm whether or not he in fact was the actual shooter. Am I correct?
We believe we had the killer, and we wanted them to let him know that we had all the evidence, and asked to see what he said.
Because I know in my car, I never think he'll know what I said.
Maybe you never knew that you were going to kill him.
No, sir, because I know
Could it have been an accident? Could the gun have just went off by accident?
Isn't it true that one of your interrogation tactics used against Marcos Rangel was to develop themes that imply a lessened sense of responsibility, such as an accident?
Yes, and we're always trying to get the truth, but that's one of the techniques, yes.
No, none of this stuff about you just think. You just think what you did. You live with yourself what you did. You went there and you shot her right in the eye and it came out her brain and blew her brains all over. Yes, that's what happened.
He of course, he denied it again, but I don't think he, just my own personal opinion, I don't think he denied it strongly enough for me. I by then, I knew that he, in my opinion, that he was the shooter.
And didn't you say to him, I'm looking at page 3, lines 9, quote, no, wait, hold it, no, 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 stop, none of that macho stuff.
Stop. We know that.
End quote.
John, I'm going to object to the intonation of that question.
And a lot of times when Mr. Kearney was objecting to something and the judge would rule in Mr. Kearney's favor, Mr. Moss still came back.
The intonation? Okay. Didn't you say to Marcos Rangel, quote, no, wait, hold it, no, 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 stop, none of that macho stuff. Did you say that?
Yes.
Weren't you yelling at him when you said it?
These glasses have gotten an acquittal in a 3-week rape trial. And I came to believe, whenever I put on these glasses, I can look into the souls of the witness, and I can see the truth that lies therein, or the falsity.
You were talking about people who supposedly picked him out as being the shooter. Isn't that correct?
These other people were there. They saw what happened. They picked out your picture.
That was absolutely false. On March 20th, 1997.
He's a sly little fox, you know. He really was. I said, he's no dummy. You know, I misjudged him completely. It got to the point where I was kind of like looking forward to see how he was going to cross-examine someone.
There wasn't one single soul at the time when you said this to Marcos Rangel that it even said he was a possible suspect. Is that true?
That's correct.
So you told him a lie, right?
Yes.
Well, was it a whole lie or partly a lie?
Well, that was a whole lie.
Thanks.
I know that you don't. I know, sir, that you don't lie. I know, sir, that you do your job, sir, and I know, sir, that you don't see nothing, sir, and I know you believe in the witness. It's a word.
Mm-hmm. Counselor, the whole time through this interview, all I wanted him to do was tell us the truth.
But you lied repeatedly to him, right?
Yes.
I see. My feeling is if you don't need to put a client on the stand, don't. And most clients can simply be made monkeys of by even the worst of prosecutors. I believe that the only chance we have in this case is to keep the focus on the police officers and to show how desperate they were to have this case closed. Now I'd like to call Commander David Robinson to the stand. When you actually went into the interview room with Marcos Rangel at a time when he was alone, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you turn off the video machine before you went in?
Absolutely not.
You can remember that you absolutely not did turn on the video machine?
Absolutely, I can remember that.
David Robinson, God in his infinite wisdom couldn't have created a better witness for the defense. The very first thing out of his mouth was a lie. Before he even could raise his hand and swear to tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, he had his Stetson, this big brimmed hat on, at a jaunty angle, and the way he must maintain that angle is he has these roll-up little bundles of Scotch tape that are stuck on the hat and his head, and you push the tape against the head, and then you can walk down and look like, yeah, I'm a commander in the San Francisco Police Department, plainclothes division. And when he took his hat off, the Scotch tape stuck to his head. He sat down in the witness stand, and he pulled the Scotch tape off, and then he said, oh, it must be...
my hat size.
As though this were something that the hat came with. This rolled up piece of Scotch tape.
You are aware, aren't you, that there's no videotape record whatsoever of you speaking to Marcos Rangel on March 20th, 1997.
That's correct.
You turned it off, didn't you, before you went in that room?
That's a mean-spirited thing to say. As I testified before, no, I did not.
Did you threaten to kill Marcos Rangel when you were in that room?
Yes, I told him, if you're trying to escape, if you try to escape, I'll kill you. I believed him to be sufficiently dangerous that I would use serious language to convey that he should sit down, as he did not do upon my directing him to sit down.
Oh, I see. So the reason you threatened to kill him was because he did not sit down? Is that right?
Objection, misstates his testimony. Were the statements made by you intended to be part of the interrogation process, Commander Robinson?
No.
Were you trying to say, Mr. Rangel, I'm going to kill you unless you confess to this crime? Was that your intent, sir, initially in those statements?
No, never.
And then they say I killed the woman. They're going to call me, yeah, because they say I killed the woman.
The police had insufficient evidence to arrest Marcos. They let him go. Over the following weeks, Inspectors Toomey and Johnson gathered enough evidence to obtain a warrant to arrest Marcos. But Marcos had disappeared.
Rangel claims to be an ex-policeman and knows how to use a gun. Police say he can change his appearance. Police say he may still be traveling with Australian-born Amber Tyler. If you've seen Marcos Rangel or Amber Tyler, please call us at 1-800-CRIME-TV.
For 22 years, the office has been run by the elected public defender, Jeff Brown.
I'm going to retire, and I think that there's a time in which you have to understand that your ability to contribute diminishes.
Well, you know, one of the biggest challenges for me is going to be that I'm going to be running for public defender. My boss is going to be retiring. Okay, take care. And then at the same time, I have this huge battle, a 4-year battle that I've been waging in a case that I care so much about.
But how many times have you been in a situation where you were really, really close? That maybe it was one more little button that needed to be pushed and you could have gotten violent. And you didn't. And you look at the lives of some of the people that we represent, and you can say, you know, maybe if I had been in that person's shoes and all those buttons had been pushed, all of them had been pushed, yeah, maybe I'd be sitting there in orange, staring at a lawyer.
To me, I did kill a man, you know. And that person is not an innocent person. And that person is not a regular person that go work, you know, 9 hours a day. Person is very violent, you know, and
sometimes falling into the pit of hopelessness is what you need to open your eyes to an opportunity that's there. There is no question that the person in this case, the gang boss that was killed in this case, was killed by my client. That is not the issue. What this case will come down to is one basic question. Was Lam Choi's use of force reasonable under the circumstances? You're going to hear about a world that Lam Choi grew up in.
it was just like a hood.
the ghetto, the drug place, you know, prostitute running, people, you know, hurting each other.
In that environment, he became aware of the man who he would later have to kill. He was somebody who, with the snap of a finger, could have you killed or spare your life. The man who controlled the Tenderloin.
The initial thrust on the investigation for the public defender was to build up as much dirt as possible on Tran. And in order to do that, I had to go and find as many people that had had direct contact with Tran and had been threatened by him or had actually been injured by him. My role is as a public defender investigator. It's pretty much the same as a private investigator in criminal defense. How you doing? I'm from the public defender's office. And what we do is we go out and talk to everybody. Tran went away to jail for about a year on some extortion charges. And already other factions had started to move in and take over his turf. And when he came out, he found out that Lamb had been involved in, well, this was his belief anyway, a takeover attempt. So he directly threatened Lamb. And it was in that coffee shop 2 weeks prior to the homicide that Lamb and his girlfriend were sitting when Tran came in and threatened to kill Lamb. He said, you know, if you don't get out of the Tenderloin within, you know, 48 hours, I'm going to kill you.
If you really threaten me, you stand up there in front of me and you make me think that my life is in danger right away, I would do the same and fire. So that's how I learned from the street, you know, that's how I grew up.
Imagine for a moment that we are in the desert. Imagine some cactus trees around. And imagine a pit, a huge pit with walls 15, 20 feet high. Imagine in that pit a huge rattlesnake with jaws bigger than your head. Imagine around that rattlesnake 50 other rattlesnakes willing to kill at the behest of the big rattlesnake. Now, imagine yourself as Lam Choi, a person with few resources, a 17-year-old kid being thrown into that pit. If he had a gun in his hand, do you think he should shoot? You may think that violence on our streets has no place wherever it occurs and under any circumstances. Hold on to those beliefs. Those beliefs are good, valid beliefs. But don't for a minute think that Lam Choi's life was not in danger when he did what he did.
All right, Mr. Carney, your next witness, please. You know, if you would call Selena Archuleta to the stand.
Please step forward and be sworn.
Ms. Archuleta, I want to ask you to look at a photograph of an individual. I want to ask you if you know him. Do you recognize this man?
Yes.
Who is that?
Skull.
Skull?
Scully, yeah, Robert Singer.
What kind of relationship did you have with Mr. Singer after you first met him?
Well, okay, so I met him and we went riding on his motorcycle. We went over to his place and just, I don't know, it was more like friends, and then got a little sexual, you know, but which didn't really I didn't really care for that much.
All right, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. You said initially that there was a. Are you?
No, I'm fine.
All right. Did he ever express to you that he wanted to do any harm to Carmel or wanted to hurt her in any way?
One time while driving in his truck, he offered me some money to, to kill his wife.
Did you take it seriously?
No, I didn't. And I'm kind of sad for that now. I wish I would have, known he was that serious.
If you remember, Elizabeth Fowle, one of the eyewitnesses in the case, was inches, if not at least a foot or several inches away from the killer at one point. And one of the things she noticed right away as a hairdresser was the eyebrows.
Like somebody had a nervous habit of pulling them out, or maybe they had been shaved off.
As a transvestite or transsexual would have, that appeared to be shaved or plucked.
Right.
Selena Archuleta has shaved eyebrows. Maybe Robert furnished the murder weapon to
Right.
Selena, and Selena put on the bandana with her little shaved eyebrows and didn't pencil in her eyebrows that day and killed his wife. Selena Archuleta is about the same height as the shooter. If I recall, she's 5'6" or so, and about the same weight as the shooter.
Yeah.
You'll have to be with kid gloves, and you probably have to get to him pretty soon because Mr. Moss is indicating that you may be a suspect in this case.
Hi, Selena.
Selena Archuleta. Whew. There's a piece of work. I'm a little frightened about that one, too. I'm a little frightened about that one. It's unpredictable.
Good afternoon, Miss Archuleta.
Hi.
Hi. Were you born Michael J. Archuleta?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And just to be clear, and this is kind of a personal question, have you ever actually had this surgery, that is, had your penis removed?
No, but I tried to chop it off when I was younger.
Okay.
They sewed it back on. It worked fine.
Yeah. When the police came to see you, do you remember Inspector Toomey saying, your eyebrows are kind of shaved, aren't they?
Not really, no.
Don't remember that? Do you remember you saying, they're like...
They're plucked, they're not shaved.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Could I ask that the witness please come down? Could you come down the board, please, Ms. Archuleta? Now, if you don't mind, by the way, you've got some rather tall boots on today, haven't you?
Yeah.
Is your height really about 5'8"?
5'7".
5'7"?
I think, yeah, about there.
Okay.
I know he was putting that doubt there for us to get an idea, like, okay, try to imagine her without the heels on, looking at the body type and everything, her in a black leather jacket that she possibly could,
Tell me if...
I look really sad there.
Uh-huh. You look really sad there. Would you say you look quite different from the earlier picture?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with her. There were some sad pictures. And when she kept saying that she could change her appearance.
Did you pluck the eyebrows to get them that way, or were they shaved?
Plucked.
Plucked. Okay. Didn't you tell my investigator, Nigel Phillips, that Inspector Joseph Toomey offered you $1,000 to deliver a confession of Marcos Rangel?
Wait, could you repeat the question, please? I'm sorry, what? He offered what?
You know who Nigel Phillips is? My investigator?
Yes, yes.
At one point, they got you to call Robert, right, on the phone, and they taped that when you were talking on the phone to Robert.
Yeah.
I got that here. I got the thing
I
here.
mean, they offered me like $1,000 to get him to confess, so...
The cops did?
Yeah,
Really?
so I tried to get him to confess.
Who was that? Who was the cop? Was that Toomey?
Yeah, to me and
Toomey offered you
Johnson.
$1,000.
$1,000. I just thought, wow.
Is it fair to say also that, man, $1,000 would have looked very good to you at the time you were dating Robert Sanger?
It would look good to me today.
Yeah. Did the police ask you where you were on March 5, 1997, between the hours of 3 and 7 p.m. when they first met you?
I don't remember that question, do you not?
You have been to the Pink Tarantula one time in your life, isn't that true?
Yes.
And you did not go there for a haircut the one time that you went there, isn't that true?
That's true.
Your witness, counsel.
Did you kill Colonel Sanger?
No.
Nothing.
I kind of find it hard for her to shoot a pistol. But then, you know, never say never.
That's true. She's a little too wacky to me. She
Yeah.
just didn't seem like she could pull it off.
Please keep the faith. Your case looks better every day. Love you. Please say a prayer for me.
After 4 years, we're set to go to trial in Lamb's case. Do you want to be involved in the process of jury selection?
Well, sure, you know, I just want to listen to what's going on, what happened.
You know, you should say yes. It's your jury. It's your case. You know, it's your life that's on the line.
You know, you could read their mind, you know, it'd be better, but you can't. So you got to give them, you know, your heart, you know, believe in them, you know.
And you have to watch those people while I question them, because you'll get a sense. And it's going to be hard. Everyone's going to be looking at you like this. How do you think you're going to feel?
Just feel bad.
And so now the judge is asking us whether or not we would accept 16 years. So that's what I'm going in to talk to Lamb about.
No, we're supposed to.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. 10, 15 minutes? All right. Where we are right now is the judge wants to know whether or not we would make a counteroffer. And we think the way that we figured it out before is that if you had a 16-year sentence, would be 5,840 days. You minus from that the time that you've done already, which is 1460, and you're talking about 4,380 days. Be roughly 9 years from December. So you would be 31 years old when you got out. So that's what the offer is at this point.
It just seemed like I've been pressured to do something that my heart say no, and some say, you know, don't want to deal with it and just go on and take it and just move on.
When you say you feel pressured, what do you mean?
Well, it's just, you don't know what's going to happen, you know. It's better, you know, come and think you got a date to come back out, be free. And another way, you know, of thinking it, you know, you might not even have a date to come back. You know, so it's kind of hard.
You mean the pressure of the risk?
The risk.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it's not worth it. And sometimes I think it's worth it better than facing life in prison without being free again or able to do whatever you want to do. And, you know, to go wherever you want to go, places that you dream of going and things that you dream of doing.
Before we go in there and make a firm offer, I have to be convinced that this is what you want.
Well,
you know,
to me, this is not what I want, but I feel like I don't want to waste any more time, you know, and I just don't want to.
Well, I mean, when you say waste time, you're not wasting my time. I mean, you know.
My time. So, you know, even though I don't have no time to run by, you know, it's just.
You got all the time in the world,
yeah,
man.
all the time in the world, you know, so, but it's hard. It's going to be a hard decision.
You want more time to think about it?
Well, decision come down, you know, like I say, if they give me that 16 years, you know, I will willing to take it and just move on and get it over with. But if they don't, you know, I will take it to trial all the way.
And this is a decision you're making for yourself?
For myself.
Okay. Good. Thanks. Yeah, it was pretty cool. He
all right.
No, he can't go out. No. Thanks, Farrell. Ma'am, it's kind of hard to believe that that we're at this point. You know, I always kind of envisioned that the case would go to trial somehow in my mind. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm disappointed one way or the other. It's just, you know, I always had that kind of feeling in the back of my head. I mean, we have a case that's all prepared and ready to go. We have all the witnesses subpoenaed. You know, I probably got 50 witnesses ready to testify in our case. If you can live with it, then I feel I can live with it.
I can live with it. It's pretty hard.
Lam Choi was to plead to a charge of 192A, voluntary manslaughter, as it appears on count 1 by stipulation.
Yes.
I'm always going to be haunted by not having the opportunity to try this case. It's something that I'll be feeling, you know, for a long time.
This is the most difficult trial of my entire life, this Marcos Rangel jury trial.
All right, Mr. Carney, your next witness, please. We call Miss Sarah Claxton to the stand. Ms. Claxton, how long have you known Mr. Rangel?
About 7 years.
A veces he soñado pues como que estoy así como en el mar, ¿verdad? A veces sueño que estoy en un lugar que no sé cómo explicarlo, pero es un lugar donde no es de día, no es de noche, ¿verdad? Es un lugar que no quiero regresar. Estoy feliz ahí, no hay nada, no es flores, no es nada. Es un lugar donde unas personas, no todas las personas, algunas veces pueden ir, ¿verdad? Ya yo he ido ahí y no puedo. A veces me quiero quedar ahí, pero no es posible.
Did you ever tell the police, Ms. Claxton, that Mr. Rangel was a quote, dope dealer?
They asked me if he was.
And do you remember what you said back?
What I said to them?
Yes.
I can't recall.
Ms. Claxton, do you remember Inspector Johnson asking you, and what kind of dope does he deal? And you answered heroin. Does that refresh your memory as to what you told the inspectors in the May interview in 1997?
Yes.
Ms. Claxton, do you remember Inspector Toomey asking you?
I object incomplete and unfair to this witness.
Here, I'm happy. In response, I'm happy to publish this transcript to the jury and play the tape. That would appease counsel.
I'm not asking for that. I'm simply asking that you complete.
Well, I'm prepared at this point to declare that the entire transcript is almost admissible given the testimony of this witness. If you're concerned about the completeness of the record, Mr. Moss, I think why don't we do that?
Your Honor, I object. The court's becoming an advocate. Counsel has not asked you to do this.
You just did ask me. Were you listening, Mr. Moss? Your objection is overruled. You may mark the tape, hand out a transcript to the jury.
Ms. Claxton, I'm going to ask you please to listen to this tape as it's played.
Sarah, how do you know this?
Marcos told me that Robert hadn't paid him the money that he owed him.
And why did Robert owe him money?
Because he plugged his ex-wife.
You're telling me that he shot his Robert's ex-wife?
Yes.
And why did Marcos shoot her? Why did he say he shot her?
I guess for the $20,000
What $20,000?
that Robert told him he was going to pay him.
All right, we'll take an early recess. Witness is ordered back at 1:15, please.
And at noon, I'm sure most of the jurors and most of the people in the courtroom, and maybe even me, walked out of the courtroom thinking, Marcos is dead. He's a dead man. He just lost the case. What a powerful, powerful presence she was in the morning.
When they first talked to you on May 14, 1997, you were using 3 grams of heroin a day at that time. Is that right?
Oh, that was about my normal habit. It was 3 to 4 grams a day. What's this got to do with anything?
And you were in jail the first time you met Toomey and Johnson, weren't you?
Yes.
And you were going through heavy-duty withdrawal, weren't you?
I would, if I was in jail, I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell the jury just briefly, what is it like having to kick drugs in jail?
Well, you're sick to your stomach, you throw up, you have diarrhea all the time, and you have to sit on a stainless steel toilet and listen to people yell. You know, it's loud, it's cold, it's nasty.
Yeah. And it takes, what, 3 days, 4 days to kick for you with your habit?
It takes me a couple weeks.
Couple weeks. And you got out immediately after talking to them, and your case was dismissed, wasn't it?
The police, there was no case against me. I was just detained.
Okay. But you were in jail for that dope on the floor and the syringe when Toomey and Johnson came to visit you, right? And you never had to appear in that case again, did you?
I've never had to appear on any of them. They've all been dropped.
Isn't it true that every time you get arrested, you call some cop and snitch off somebody?
He's so full of shit. I don't think so. I didn't snitch anybody off.
You didn't snitch anybody off, huh? I thought Marcos was one of your dearest friends. I saw you crying over him this morning and everything. And you heard yourself on the tape, didn't you?
What? Yeah, I was upset. Okay.
Is it fair to say that when the officer asked if you had something to do with Carmel, he said, yeah, I guess he plugged her. Didn't you say that on the tape?
Probably.
You didn't seem to have any emotion at all when you said that to the police inspector on the tape, did you?
I'm having a real difficult time with you here. Probably not.
Because they talked to you in detail before they turned on the tape recorder, didn't they?
Objection vague.
I would assume so.
Sorry. Objection vague as to time.
Overrule.
I only talked to them for a very short period of time.
No, you just spoke with them long enough so they could get it, so Toomey and Johnson could get down that, okay, Marcos plugged her and the sum was $20,000, right? You got that part down, didn't you, before the tape recorder was turned on?
If I were scoring this as boxing rounds, I'd have to say the district attorney scored a near knockout in the morning, I would hope that the jury would say Mr. Moss scored a total knockout in the afternoon.
We do sometimes represent people who are accused of and sometimes are guilty of doing incredibly horrible things. But we are not the judges and we are not the juries. It has happened enough times that the first image of a case is, well, this person is guilty. But it is only after an incredibly vigorous defense does it come out that the person wasn't guilty.
9 months after Marcos disappeared, he was caught in Seattle. Inspectors Toomey and Johnson brought him back to San Francisco.
And then we brought him down to San Francisco, and he confessed.
And he just kept going, and we kept asking him questions, and he laid out the whole thing.
It's interesting that Marcos' worst enemy is himself. His alleged confessions are going to make or break this case and how the jury perceives them.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to play this videotape to the jury, if I may.
There isn't any more powerful evidence when you press the button in court and a video comes on and the person in the video says, "I killed so-and-so."
Okay, Marco, sorry it's so long out here. If you're in custody and you're under arrest, you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that?
Yes.
How are you feeling, by the way? How are you doing?
I feel bad about the thing.
What do you need, Marcos?
I feel bad about where I did it.
You're okay. He says he feels bad.
Let me finish this.
When you very first saw Marcos Rangel on December 10, 1997, did he appear to be withdrawing from heroin?
He appeared sick.
Why did this shooting occur? Why did this thing happen?
He wanted me, he said, "Hey, you Marcos, you can kill my wife and I can give you $100,000.
$100,000? Where was he going to get this money?
He said he want to sell the building and they want to get $800,000.
So he came to the apartment that night and he brought the gun. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did he bring any drugs with him, or did you guys do drugs, or what was that?
He bring me crystal.
Crystal. What is this crystal? Is this methamphetamine? Speed?
Speed.
And do you shoot it, or how do you do it?
Are you smoking on that?
Well, when I first saw the video in the courtroom, it was mid-afternoon, I believe. It was so hard for me to believe that he would confess on tape.
Okay, and then what did you do?
I went inside, convincing the salon.
And what did you do when you got in there?
I just took the gun. I thought that I called somebody and she got me and she thought I going to put an appointment.
And then, go ahead.
And I put the gun and I shoot it.
Okay, now just let me ask one question here. Why did you go into the beauty salon?
And I was very, very high in drugs and
Yeah, but you went in there to shoot her, right?
Yeah, but after I get out from drugs, I start to remember what I did, and I really feel bad about it.
Okay, you felt bad about it after you thought
what happened, yeah, what happened, because I never thought I was going to do that, nothing like that.
You know, I mean, I know when we took the break, you know, following that video, I was just shaking my head. I said, he didn't say that, did he?
In one attack of a village, I saw a man running, and I whipped my weapon up, my M16. I had it on fully automatic, and he went behind a bush, and I let out a burst. I went brrr, just like that, and then I ran over to look for him. I had a camera, an Instamatic camera, and I stood above him with the flash on. I took a picture of him. The dead guy sprawled out, his body in a twisted, contorted position. I took it as a souvenir. I knew how rotten that was, to take a human life and treat it like it was a trophy. I sort of felt to myself, this is the end of war for me. I'm never going back to war, and I hope to God none of my sons or daughters ever go to war. I was asked by so many people to join the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I just said, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you! All that.
Mr. Carney, do you wish to make an argument? Please proceed.
Good morning. Finally, we get a chance to speak. We can talk about the evidence which shows that seated here among us in this courtroom is a person who committed a cold-blooded murder. If you want to understand the truth of what happened on March 5th, 1997, you got to ask yourselves why. Why was Carmel Sanger executed? And make no doubt, she was executed. Why did it happen? The inquiry has got to start with Robert Sanger. Did Robert Sanger hate Carmel? Yes. Let's talk about the direct evidence that we have that Marcos Rangel killed Carmel Sanger, and there is a mountain of it. Elizabeth Fow could live to be 1,000 years old, and she will never forget the events of that day. Sarah Claxton, he told me he plugged his ex-wife. At the end of her testimony, she was asked why she was crying, and she goes,
I wish that this had never happened.
Marcos Rangel several times has admitted shooting Carmel. When I shot her, I pulled the gun from front of my waistband and pulled the trigger. The law says you are to presume somebody innocent until the contrary is proven. And in this case, the contrary has been way proven. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Carney.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. How many people, without raising your hands, think that Vincent Thomas Lombardi said those words? Former coach of the famous Green Bay Packers who won the first Super Bowl. Well, the answer is no. Vince Lombardi didn't say those words. And the reason I bring that up is because I'm going to ask you to do something, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that I've tried to do throughout this case, and that is to look carefully and precisely and exactly at the evidence. Did the police win? Did they win? At one level, yes, they did. The police did win outside the courtroom in this case. Michael Johnson and Joseph Toomey, between them, almost set a world record for, yes, we were lying, yes, we were lying, yes, we were lying, yes, we were lying. One of the problems you have is you have to depend, in this case, on the testimony of police officers whose credibility is so horribly damaged that I don't see how you could find anything true that has to necessarily rely on their testimony. You notice how many of these police on March 20th, 1997, when, according to Inspector Toomey, we had no evidence. Those are words out of his mouth. We had no evidence. We had to get a conviction. How many of them were sneering right away at Marcos Rangel, thinking, and what about Inspector Robinson? There's a piece of work as well as being a fashion statement. He was ready to execute this man practically. He was so livid when there was no evidence. I'm wondering now, if Marcos was guilty, why he didn't just confess on March 20th, 1997. I mean, he had police officers yelling at him.
You just think what you did, you lived.
They laid out the entire scenario of the crime. You know, for the prosecutors to suggest that Marcos had anything independent to say in December 1997 is ludicrous. How do you know, beyond a reasonable doubt, they didn't plant this entire story in Marcos on March 20th and reiterate the entire story on December 10, 1997? On behalf of Marcos Rangel, whom I've known over 3 years, I met him very shortly after his arraignment. I've lived with this man, I've breathed with this man, I've done battle with this man. On behalf of him, I thank all of you. I am not a highly paid mouthpiece of a drug cartel from Colombia. I am a public defender. And I'm extremely grateful for that job, because I can look at people like you with integrity and say, when I present a case, it's based on truthful evidence that's designed to show you why you should find a reasonable doubt. And I asked at the beginning, when you were seated here for jury selection, I asked one thing out of all of you. That was that you be fair. I've never asked more than that, nor does Marcos Rangel. I'm finished, thank you, Your Honor.
Why do you confess to special circumstances murder? If you didn't do it, why? You know what happened here, ladies and gentlemen? The defendant got tired. And it wasn't tired of improper police tactics from 8 months ago. It was tired of being on the run. You think about it, in the age of television, in the age of computers, it is very difficult to be on the run. It really is. You wake up every day and you wonder, is this going to be the last day I'm free? And all the while that you're running, you know you murdered a person who really was a nice person. He had a guilty conscience. That's why he confessed. He did it, and some part of him felt bad about it. He was tired of running. You will always have questions about the evidence, ladies and gentlemen. There will always be pieces missing from the puzzle. But you cannot have anything but a clear picture at this stage that Marcos Rangel murdered Carmel Singer. I would ask you to so find.
What we're doing isn't just about winning or losing. What we're doing is protecting rights. And it is like a muscle that if you don't exercise it, if you don't work it, you will lose it. If we did not do this on a day-in, day-out basis, we would lose the cases where our clients are innocent because the rights wouldn't be there, because they would have atrophied.
I do not believe it is right to lock people up without any possibility of parole for any reason at all. I believe all human beings, including myself, are redeemable. I believe that all human beings have the capacity or the capability of being better if we show them love and kindness and compassion, and we deal with their mental illness if that's the problem, with their drug addiction or alcohol addiction if that's the problem. I believe that everybody on earth has a chance to be forgiven and ought to be forgiven. I believe in forgiveness as a central tenet of my life.
You felons on trial in courts, you convicts in prison cells, you sentenced assassins, chained and handcuffed with iron. Who am I, too, that I'm not on trial or in prison? I walk with delinquents with passionate love. I feel I am of them. I belong to those convicts and prostitutes myself. And henceforth I will not deny them. For how can I deny myself?
It's a beautiful poem.
You and I are brothers, you know that.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Wu. You always encourage me, you always my strength. When I am down, you always come and pick me up. You always help me when I feel very depressed. You always give me the support I'm always looking for. And I never find it until I am in this place. But now I trust in God. And I know for God's will is to meet a beautiful person as you. Even in the last minute in my life in this situation, I'm very glad to God He and have the blessing to know a beautiful person as you, Mr. Wade.
Thank you.
And God bless you.
God bless you.
We don't know how. You're the best. I love you, Mr. Wade. I love you so much.
Oh.
It's another.
Oh, it's going to be 21. Good morning, Swell Moss. Yes? They have a verdict. Okay, we're on our way. Bye. Okay, they have a verdict. Oh. They have a verdict, Marcos, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I have no idea what the verdict is, but whatever it is, God is with us, okay?
Yeah.
I just wake up early in the morning. I was having like a dream, and the dream is, you know where it is, the words. My dream is like they find me guilty. That's my dream.
Okay.
But it's okay.
The record should reflect that all the jurors are present, counsel, and the defendant. My understanding is the jurors reached a verdict. Is that correct? Yes. Who's the foreperson? All right, juror number 4. Would you please sign, or excuse me, hand your verdict form to the bailiff? All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the verdicts and findings?
Superior Court of California, County of San Francisco, Criminal Division. The people of the State of California, plaintiff, versus Marcos Rangel, defendant. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant guilty of the crime of felony, murder in the first degree, as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We also find the allegation that the murder of Carmel Sanger was intentional and was carried out for financial gain to be true.
The law states that for this offense, that your sentence is this. You are to be imprisoned in the California State Prison for the remainder of your life. That is, for the term of life without the possibility of parole.
I have a blank calendar, but I have to go see Marcos this morning. And I have to see another client charged with rape. And I have to get ready for my next preliminary hearing day, and life goes on and on and on and on.
Life for Jeff Adachi takes an unexpected turn when his boss, Jeff Brown, suddenly resigns. The mayor will now appoint an interim public defender.
All right. I have chosen to ask a young woman whom I have known since birth. I was a college classmate of her father. I was a law school classmate of her father's, and know her mother. I am indeed honored and delighted to be able to swear in what's almost like a family member. And so I'm just delighted to be able to have you raise your right hand if you agree to take this job and repeat after me.
Let's go for it.
I, Kamiko Burton,
I, Kamiko Burton,
will well and faithfully discharge the duties as the public defender for the city and county.
It's great. I'm honored. I'm excited, and I'm really looking forward to the work.
Good luck.
Did you consider any other people for the job? Was it
Not really. I have always envisioned in certain positions, certain people.
He didn't even consider my qualifications. I mean, he didn't ask for a resume. He didn't ask for a list of references. He didn't even meet with me before making his decisions.
I know that everybody is here because they think the work of this office and the work of public defenders in general is so important, and in a time when it is not politically popular to be defending criminals, that the people in this office think that it is important and that it is necessary. I know that transition is sometimes difficult and is sometimes awkward. I have tried to minimize that as much as possible and to try and make any changes that are going to be made as quickly and humanely as possible.
I am changing the leadership team of the office. As a result of those changes, the office will no longer need your services. It's signed by Kim Burton.
Then we lose another soldier. Not a soldier, a general. I mean, because Adachi, this is a man who's been at it for well over a decade.
There is no reason why she would fire me other than the fact that I happen to have declared my candidacy a few years before she did. For the first time in 15 years, I'm not going to be a public defender. I'm not going to have, one of the things you do when you go to court is you always announce who you are. I always say Jeff Adachi, San Francisco public defender. I've always been proud to say who I am, and I'm not going to have that, at least for now.
With credit for time served, Lamb will spend another 9 years in state prison. In a few days, he will be sent to San Quentin.
How do you feel about going? Are you scared?
Well, half of me is scared, half is not,
The main thing to remember, man, is that you just got a date, right? Because there are people who will be in level 4 who ain't got no date, who have no...
Well, like I say, that date is going to be remembered, but sometime, it's not easy to keep that date the same day it is, Sometimes problem pop up, you got to deal with it. If not, you wouldn't even see that date.
Yeah.
So you don't got any more case, huh?
Well, one of the biggest challenges for me is going to be that I'm going to be running for public defender. And it's going to be, I'm going to go through a lot of my own personal battles. But hopefully I'll be okay.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Okay. Well, we'll just practice for that.
All right, man. I give you a call. Time to time.
Post 5.
It is a defining moment for me right now. And I really do believe that this is my calling. And that's the great thing about my background as a public defender. We have a saying. We say, we live to fight another day. And in this case, that saying is going to ring true, at least in my heart, every day until I fight my way back into the office.
you.